call me.
So we're going live, people, just so you know.
Bruce Butch, who are you talking about?
Shh, don't say anything you don't want anyone else to hear.
No. Oh, you lost me on that. But I want you to sketch it all out with pen and paper, with a pencil.
10 seconds.
Possible snow Friday.
No, don't say that.
I just said it on MUI. Oh.
Alrighty, it's 6 o'clock. I'll call this budget committee meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock on April 17th, 2018. Let's rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We have some space.
We're showing space now. Thomas notified me they wouldn't be able to make this meeting. He says he's still going to try. He's trying to come back from Boston. So wish the best for Lynette and her procedure. I don't think it's that serious, so we're all good there. Let's have roll call. Start with my left.
Bob Carrier.
Peg Hurd.
David Carcass.
Stan Idle.
Timmy Smith.
Erin Hutchings.
And Sean Perot is the chair. We have quorum. We have some unfinished business. The first thing I'd like to do is to adopt the current bylaws. The reason why I want to do this first before the appointment of a new member is the bylaws actually have some information in there regarding appointing a new member, and I want us to all be okay and go forward with that in mind.
Are you going to revisit the bylaws after the new member comes on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I wanted to make sure that hopefully everyone's received the link to the bylaws in flux, or people are starting to do some for the hopeful bylaw committee. Does anyone have any questions or want to review any of these pieces?
I was going to make a motion to table until the new member joins so that they have an opportunity to read them and possibly making changes or suggestions for changes.
So that's a good suggestion. I think the fact that we're trying to put together like a subcommittee to review the bylaws this year and update them according to, right now they're 5 years old. So what I like to do is start the meeting at least with the ones we have, talk to the new member, make sure they're on board with the bylaws after that, and go forward. Does that sound acceptable to everyone?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so do you need a motion?
That would be wonderful, Peg.
Okay, I will make a motion that we adopt the current bylaws.
Seconded.
We have a second from Aaron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? Hearing none? None opposed. Okay, great. Now we come to the fun of appointment of a new member. So yesterday I sent out a note to the new members with what to expect for today. I wanted to make sure everyone was on a level playing field and knew what we're going to ask you or what you're going to be able to give us. We had 2 people drop out today, Robert Bridges and Annie Rawson. I'd like to thank them for their interest. They have other things they need to take care of, so God bless. What we're going to do is start off with each candidate. We'll get 2 minutes to speak to the committee, and then after that we'll allow the members of the committee to ask any questions they might have of specific or all of the different candidates. So I'm just going to go in the order that the people sent us a letter of intent, and we're going to start with Dennis Woods. Hi, Dennis. Thank you.
How formal are you going to do this?
You do whatever way you want, whatever makes you comfortable.
Stand there. Dennis Woods. My wife and I were longtime seasonal campers at Mighty Joe for 23 years. So we're very familiar and have a lot of fond memories of Milton in the past. I'd like to, I'm currently on the Economic Development Committee, which is something I really would like to continue to pursue. I think there's a lot of opportunities to bring back some of those old things that we remember, the Spinellis and so forth, that we can once again get Milton back to a point of being the quick New England town that we all kind of remember. We've kind of lost a bit of that over the years. And so that's one of the reasons I'm involved with that. The budget committee, I got a lot of experience in the corporate world with that, in project management and in running an organization. I mentioned Peg the other day that I had five departments, and at the largest point I had a $52 million annual budget. Now I had a financial staff, so it wasn't all mine, but I had to basically provide the support and the foundation for that to corporate. My other background during my stay at corporate was in project management, and I think a lot of the things that I see, at least in the municipal side, we could benefit a lot from segmenting things into workable projects and do them not as a whole, but work them as projects. I think we can get a lot more accomplished. And I'm not sure how that works with the budget committee, but I'm pretty sure that just about any task can be segmented and really focused on by people and require updates and status along the way, and a little visibility to the voters who are giving us this opportunity to support them. There is one issue, though, that I want to bring up. I wasn't going to bring it up, and I decided I really do need to, is we are going to be snowbirding. We're typically gone from mid-January to mid-March, and I know that's a kind of a critical time, but there's no reason why telecommuting nowadays I can't provide whatever things that you need from me during that period of time, and I absolutely would be 100% in favor of doing that. So, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Sandy and I have been full-time residents now. This is my wife, Sandy, by the way. I've been full-time residents now since March of 17, after buying the property in November of 15, and we've been working on it ever since, and love the town of Milton, and I really want to support them where we can.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's see. Mark Courier, be the next person. Thank you, Mark.
Mark Courier, lifelong resident of Milton Mills, Milton. I served, I'll keep it really short, I've served on the Milton School Board for 9 years. 5 of those years as board chair. I'm very familiar with the budget committee, what their role is, what the role is of the town and the school departments to develop the budgets, present it to the budget committee, and the budget committee, it's them who reviews it. It's a very time-consuming job. It's a thankless job, but again, it's the budget committee's duty to present it to the town to be voted on. We go through deliberative session, then it goes to the town for the vote. It's your budget that gets presented to the town. After that, town votes it. You oversee. School can spend the money how they wish. Town can spend the money how they wish, but you still oversee. You still look at it. You look at line items. Are they moving money? Where are they moving money to? So this is where it comes to you. Then it comes to you next year. Hey, you needed $20,000 for this repair. You didn't do it. Where'd you move the money? What happened to it? Why didn't you do it? Those are the questions that you need to ask. That's the role of the budget committee. You can't micromanage the school or the town, but you do have the obligation to the taxpayers to follow, where they're going with the money.
All right. Thank you very much. Next person, Bob Boudreau. Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Bob Bordeaux, lived in town over 40 years, worked in town over 40 years. Not many people could say that. I've been on Milton Fire Department for 30 years. Retired in 2007 as deputy chief. Own Eastern Boats in town. At one time we were the second largest employer. I'm not sure whether we are or not, but basically I think my strength is that I've got a pretty good handle on what happens in the town. And I've been on the planning board, I've been on the economic development committee. I was a founding member of the Milton Business and Industry Alliance. I've just got a real good sense of going on with the town. With our business, it's a $5-6 million a year business. It's 35 employees, you know, so I've got a good grasp on the budget and control side of things. So I was just gonna try to help out, you know, with some of the things I know with the different departments, and I really think I can be an asset to the budget committee. Working with the CIP for the planning board the last couple of years, I think there's a big void there. There's an issue. There's the budget side of that. And I really think I can contribute to what you guys are trying to do.
Great, thank you very much. Next is Larry Brown.
This is pretty much old home week. I've had the pleasure of working with Bob on the budget side of things through the planning board and the CIP. I have had the pleasure of working with Mark when we were serving together on the budget committee, and he was representing the school district both as chair and as member. And some of this will be familiar. I've got 12 years being on the budget committee, and I have worked through the problems of the school district being $600,000 in debt, working out a compromise of $500,000, bringing it down to $250,000 that was negotiated through our attention to details in succeeding years. What I wrote out here is, if those who know me, 8.5 by 11. If you can put it on one piece of paper, this is a list of the things that the budget committee does not do. If you are on the school board, or particularly on the town, check the last half of paragraph 2, where when you have an agency expend voted by the town voters, you can pay all legal charges to certain dedicated fund accounts without further interference or review. That may be important dealing with the Recreation Commission. What the Budget Committee does, 4 things. You either raise, retain, reduce, or remove a budget item. And you do it by getting the accurate detail of why the figure is important. You can take a $5 million budget, take $500,000, $50,000, $5,000, $50, and $5. And as you're saying to Mark, if you have just paid $5 for a $2 spark plug, that is the level of micromanaging that is really not the Budget Committee's problem. You may have, for good cause, a preference for the $5 spark plug. You may have the willingness of the vendor to stand behind a defective product. But the Budget Committee is the official operating budget. My own comment, I have some 5 generations of New Hampshire to thank for the close distance democracy that I enjoy today. And my 12 years on the Budget Committee have been a partial payment for what I owe the New Hampshire Constitution. I also enjoy your company.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
So now, if you wanted to give us the opportunity to ask any questions to any of the candidates, if anyone has any. Go ahead, Aaron.
I know I'm going to butcher your name, and I apologize.
That's
Mr.
fine.
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
My only question to you is because of my going to the economic development and that,
Yep.
you've been talking about your end date with them
Right.
and retiring, so that was my only concern.
Right. I am building a new house in Kittery.
Right.
It's going to be at least a year out, could be longer. And that's why I stepped down from economic development. That's why I did not run for re-election for the planning board. And then, you know, I really, when I saw the one-year seat open is kind of, you know, what got me. It's a one-year seat. I really, truly feel I can have an impact in that 1 year, and could drag out 2 years, but you know, because it was a one-year seat, it really drove my interest.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I'd hate to have to go through in October.
No, again, I
Because we're
committed
getting
to the
busy.
Sewing Machine Club as treasurer for another year.
Yeah.
I'm here another
Okay,
year, so,
all right.
you know.
That was my only concern.
Chances are I will not be running in March.
Right, right.
It's truly the one-year seat. that
I know your
interests me.
excitement. I saw
Yeah,
the excitement
yeah.
when you were going to be, you know, so I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't know. Thank you.
Great, any other questions? Okay. So we're going to pass out some papers to everyone. Show everyone's name. Please mark it down and hand it over to me.
Are we supposed to sign our names to it too?
Yeah, please put your initials down so we know in case there are any sort of questions later.
I'm thinking. We have excellent candidates. We do.
We do actually have some really good candidates. Almost every person that approached me in town was surprised at how many people were really interested in this, which made me very excited.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's also, it's the thing too, that people would generally will come out if I don't have to go put my name on the ballot.
True.
And that's, it ends up happening. It's easier to be appointed than it is to put my name on the ballot and stand out there.
This is only a 1 hour thing, you know.
Listen, I just had a meeting last night for over 4 hours.
Two of us are up here because we weren't on the ballot.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Well, I'm glad to see new faces.
I learned a lot in the 1 year that I was on it last year.
And every year, you learn something. Trust me, I've been here quite a while. And I can't say there hasn't been a year that I haven't learned something. You sure?
I don't know.
Is that your final answer?
All right, it gave me enough pieces of paper, I could just
Well, we
put
may not
one
be
for
done. We may have to
everyone.
do this again.
She
I'm
folded it
telling you,
twice.
it's
This is extra
excellent
secret.
candidate.
They are,
Very
everyone is.
hard.
It is symbolic that this is the first meeting with sunshine this entire stinking year.
Until Friday morning.
So the results we have, if you notice in number 4 in the email I sent, no candidate had the majority in our first round. Any candidate with 0 votes will be removed consideration. So the remaining people that we can vote for are Dennis Woods, Mark Courier, and Bob Bordeaux, sorry.
Just like the wine.
I mean, my last name's Perot. I think I should be able to get your last name. So, does anyone want to make a comment or speak or have any other questions?
The only thing that bothers me, Mr. Woods, is the snowbird. And the reason being is that is the hot time of season. And if we allow that for 1, and we want to allow it for 2, next thing you know, we don't have a majority. We can't have a meeting. You know, and it's just like, you know.
I understand, but I felt it.
Well, and I want to thank you for telling us, because
That wouldn't be fair.
that is not something you tell us after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, so,
That's why I.
and that does bother me, because, you know, as you know, last time I was in Florida and I called in, and it's 1 time in how many years, you know, and I hated to do it that way then, but to take a couple months off, I think that's asking a bit much, especially in the hot season, as right before the elections, and, you know,
You guys need to do what's right. That's what I.
unfortunately.
Yeah, although I will say it shows a lot of character to, you know,
Yeah.
say that, and something that's definitely going to weigh heavy on a lot of people's minds to vote, so I appreciate the honesty. Any other thoughts or concerns? Or not
No, I think he
concerns,
needs
it's
to take us all with him. We can all call in somewhere.
You can buy my motorhome, you can follow them down.
If we get Bob to build us a big enough boat, we can all.
I know there's a motorhome for sale. Somebody-
Sail the coast down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'll sign
so what's the procedure? We're gonna go with the next
Take me
three
long to
and,
make that
Yep,
decision.
so we're gonna go with those three people. The next wave is essentially the top two highest unless we have like a 3-2-2 like we just had actually. So hopefully this isn't gonna last like until the wee hours of the morning.
wow, she's got it figured out.
Yes, I did.
I don't even know what my name is.
If you don't know what your name is, we have bigger problems to deal with.
I'm so used to signing MBH. It's like
Oh.
nobody would know me as MBH here.
Separate piles. In case there's any sort of concerns in there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so congratulations, Mark Courier. Appreciate your interest. I really do want to thank everyone else for coming, though. I really do.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Like I said, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, do you really have more than 0 people trying to fill this seat? We got Erin last year. She just came off the street one day and asked a couple questions. And then Larry grabbed her and dragged her and sat her in his seat and said, okay, you're on the board with us now. So, welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And just to
Thank
let
you.
y'all know, there are other commissions and boards that we will be looking for.
There's lots of understaffed committees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Hey,
All right.
So do you have your card with you?
hi, Judge.
Do you have the form?
Yes, I
Is
do.
it all filled out?
No.
How can we filled out? We didn't know who it was gonna be.
Got the person's name?
So, anyone who's online right now, we're going to take a few minutes to do some housekeeping, swear Mark in, although I'm guaranteeing I'm going to convince you of Carrier and Courier.
Oh. Forgot all about that.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
We're gonna have a heck of a season then.
Bye.
So we are going to need everyone's name.
Now, can you swear me in? Or
I
She can.
She can.
You can go before her if you want to be on camera.
Raise your right hand. I
I,
state your name.
Mark Courier,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties
discharge and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a budget committee member
as a budget committee member
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and laws
and of the Constitution and laws
of the state of New Hampshire.
of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Pull up a chair.
All of us.
Everyone, shake everyone's hand. Congratulations. Thank you very
Everyone
much.
in here?
Thank you.
Yeah, we can always make room right here.
Thank you. I'm always
Welcome.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, so we're gonna. All right, move over.
There's another, is there another one of these chairs someplace?
Yeah, there is.
right there.
Where are we gonna put
Yeah, we could use another section of the desk.
I've been trying to put the Board of Selectmen to buy another piece like this for how many years now?
We have a phone.
Okay, come on in. You can share my booklet.
I usually just sat with Sherry. She's very entertaining during these meetings.
Ask Aaron.
Okay.
Excellent. So that went a lot better than I could ever hope. So now we're going to work on the review of the minutes. So in the white tab, see, we're trying to be organized.
What? Oh, you
Now we're
got
gonna
one
do
for-
committee
Oh,
secretary.
my goodness. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
The next thing was committee secretary.
No, that's F. We're doing E.
Oh, okay, so we went over the, okay. I read it wrong.
You all set?
Yep.
Cool. So one thing that we're trying this year is we have the meeting minutes on Google Drive. And those who wish to make edits, request from Sherry permission to go into the document and edit it. So far, it's worked out okay. There's a few glitches with people with not Gmail addresses, but for the most part, it's worked out well. And I did give everyone homework the other night to review it, so this wouldn't take too long. I do not plan on reading this entire thing,
Thank you.
so we'll give everyone a few minutes to review it.
I'm just going to ask the quick question that all the changes that were sent
Have been applied to
have
the...
been applied, yes, okay.
The changes that I received.
Okay,
Fantastic.
If you see anything that didn't change, let me know, Ms. Hurd.
absolutely, Ms. Kaiser. We'll be more than happy to, Ms. Kaiser.
I guess going forward, the key that is to know just when did they all get applied. That way, if somebody actually went in and made any changes last minute, they can easily tell.
Yeah,
On Google Docs, what happens is, and I've requested that if you've gone in to make any changes, you put at the bottom where that you've made the changes. In other cases, I'll go ahead and add any updates from who through other sources.
okay.
So if I get them via email or something, then I'll just go in and say, from Tedford on.
But you're physically making the changes, right?
I am physically making the
Okay,
changes.
because I don't think legally we can touch that
No,
document.
you cannot, and
Right.
it's not sent to, it does not go around, it just goes
Right.
to me.
So are you making the change, are you making the changes on the document or just notating them on the bottom so that when it comes before the board, they can see, okay, this is
Yes.
what I want to have changed?
Right, and I request that it's done in color, like Sean has done them in blue, I've had them done in red, so that I know who has requested the change, but then I physically make the change. I can give just view copy, I can give edit copy, I have the capability of doing all that, so.
Cool. Any, anyone like some more time to review? I'm sure you
No,
can't.
I'll make,
I can't vote on it,
Yeah.
Mark cannot.
I will make a motion to accept minutes of March 21st, 2018.
Do you hear a second?
I second it.
All right, motion and second. Let's take the vote from my right. Gonna mix it up this year.
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Abstain.
abstain?
I technically wasn't here.
Okay.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Excellent.
Mr. Chair, I gotta get clarification on that. Stan, you were not physically here, but you were participating.
Right, but if there was something that was done that maybe I didn't see online, or if I didn't hear correctly, I just feel better abstaining.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just,
I got you. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
yeah. No, I watched the whole thing, I participated
Yeah.
online and with the phone, but just to play it safe, I'm gonna abstain.
All right, so the next matter of business is a committee secretary discussion. And we had a bit of confusion last time, which is why we tabled it. So this is really not to supplant what Sherry does for us, which is take minutes, organize the minutes, kind of a great person to talk to directly to get things organized outside the meeting. This is more of a person who, I can actually tell you right exactly what it is, but a person who kind of helps with some of the printing out of papers, making sure we have all the documents all ready to go. A lot of the work that I had just done for this. I don't know if we need one, but it was mentioned in our original agenda that Larry put together that there was a consideration, so.
Well, go ahead, Bob.
Bob, please.
I know Tom and I talked about it, and I think we probably should be there because if the chair and the vice chair is not here, the secretary could run the meeting, or we would have to change something because we already have a provision in there. We could nominate somebody pro tem to run the meeting. So I don't know if the two would conflict, but Tom was talking about it, And when I said something, I got it confused with her.
Right,
This is a different organization. She works for the selectmen, well, actually for us, but she's hired by them, but the secretary is from the committee, and they are under the bylaws, so. Aaron, I think, maybe knows a little more about it than I did. I was trying to get some research on it, on the secretary.
The difference was just that Sherry's a recording clerk, not just, she's very important, but she is the recording clerk,
Glad I'm not sitting next to
which
you.
is. She crying. I've got some kisses. You want one?
It's just
That's-
not in the current, it's not in the current bylaws, but I was thinking maybe, we're not there yet, but maybe put it in the new bylaws. We wouldn't be able to do it this year because we would have to swear them in, and April 30th was the last day we can swear in any officers.
Gotcha. Cool.
It's just something that we'll consider it maybe.
My question is gonna be, Sherry, on your half, you don't need any help. You've been doing it all yourself, no problem, right?
I've just been doing the minutes.
Right, but I was saying, it's not like you need assistance with anything, correct?
No.
All right, so what are you thinking that you need assistance? Like for getting the meetings ready, is that what you're saying?
Like I said, the original agenda was actually, Larry had put it together. When I did some lookups of what exactly is a committee secretary, because I never heard of that position before. In summary, the secretary is responsible for ensuring meetings are effectively organized and minuted, maintaining effective records and administration, upholding the legal requirements of governing documents, charity law, company law, et cetera, where relevant, and communication correspondence.
Well, two of those is Michelle, because she holds the minutes and the archives and so forth.
Right.
So, I'm not so sure it's necessary, but, I mean, it can be discussed, I guess.
Yeah, at the beginning, when I first took this role, I thought there was going to be a tremendous amount of upkeep of the documents and things like that. It wasn't that bad. I visited the town hall more than I probably have in the last 5 years to make printouts because, as you can see, we go through trees like crazy for these things. But personally, I don't think I need it. I know Bob is more than willing to give me a hand if we need anything printed out, and I'm sure I could ask Sherry too,
Right, and it doesn't have to be someone that's an officer to do that.
No.
That's what I'm getting at. So
Yep.
we can discuss it. If the time comes, you feel you're overwhelmed because you got a regular job like the rest of us,
Yeah.
then someone can participate in helping you out. It doesn't,
Sure.
just on that way. It doesn't have to be an official officer.
Right.
Well,
No, you did a good job with this. Thank you, Sean.
Oh, the thing is, we'll keep that pro tem. That would count for that one meeting. The committee would vote on somebody to run the meeting for that one time.
For that one time.
Yeah, so maybe we
Gotcha.
don't, I won't even pursue it.
Well, just remember that 3 reps can't do that.
Yeah, you would have to be an at-large member to do that. That's a good point.
Just a question on that, Bob. When's your seat up?
What do you want to know that for?
Trying to get rid of them already?
No, I'm not. But part of the reason behind the secretary in that is Sean's on for a 1-year term. So when Sean's up next March, typically the vice chair, as a general rule of thumb, rolls into the chair position,
No,
which would,
no.
I beg to differ
I
with you
disagree.
on that.
I've been on a lot of boards. It's never
You
really.
may have been
Let's
on
say
a
they're
lot of
not.
boards, but I just went to a class, and this was one of the topics of discussion. And one of the topics of discussion was the secretary. And the secretary, the vice chair rolls into and I didn't say in all instances, but in instances, the vice chair would roll into the chair position, the secretary will roll into a vice chair. And it keeps continuity in the boards.
Gotcha.
See, I disagree with that because that's taking the voting of the board away for who they want for a chair. A, and B, we've never done it that way. So it may be a suggestion by whoever put on that training session, but I don't feel that we have to do everything they say that they suggest.
You're not.
That's a very good point.
You're not saying that they automatically just grow into the position. You're just saying it just.
It can happen.
It just can happen.
Right, right.
Yes, it can just happen. Have I seen it happen? Yes. Does it normally happen? No.
Correct.
It's because school board, you get 2 new members come in or 1 and things change. So
But somebody asked why the secretary why would you have that? Never heard of it before. That is one of the instances in which it is utilized,
Yeah.
and in several towns in the state.
That is true. But see, if he gets reelected, if he goes in and gets reelected, but I still think he has to go through the process as well.
He still has to go through the process of being
Being
nominated to be chair.
nominated again.
Right, it isn't a given.
Even if you're still on the board and you're chair, you gotta get
You
the board's
still,
gonna reelect you.
every year you go through the
Right,
nomination process.
so that's just a one-year term, period.
Right.
Right.
Just for your
Um,
information.
Same
I'm gonna-
thing in the school board, too.
Yeah, so I'm going to entertain a comment from the public, since Larry was the person who put this together.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right.
It is, I'm double booked, and I thank you for advancing public comment. I just wanted to thank you intensely for bringing Mark onto the board. Really, his assessment, his focus, his knowledge of procedure, and where the skeletons are buried will be invaluable of the school district. Bob Carrier is a treasure and was previously was chair himself. And on the bylaws, they are to your own convenience in working out your goals and process for the year. I thank you very much yourself for you told me you were 1 year and out, and as I told you, I'm glad you are 2 years and in. But you have the control of your bylaws, and you can, as Bob said, go pro tem. You can even, for no cause stated, decide that you want a different chair in midterm and vote them in. But that, I wish you well. I thank you well. I'm going down to my other meeting, and thank you for the process.
Thank you, Larry.
Larry, thank you for your
Thank you,
support.
Larry.
It is a pleasure to have a small town and close distance democracy.
Excellent. Take care.
So I'll go back to my original suggestion, let's just see what happens, and then we'll take it up as little time goes by.
Okay.
I
You
agree.
want to table this? Okay. No problem. So one thing that was brought up last week, and Larry walking out. I'm sorry,
Do
Sharon?
we need a motion to table this, or just table it?
I'll make a motion to table it.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Okay.
Sorry, Peg.
I was like, okay. Yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
All in favor, come on.
Go ahead.
Actually, you can say, remember we talked last time about if there's no objection, we'll table these minutes. If no one says anything, then we don't have to worry about voting, so. Sometimes you gotta look this stuff up, Stan.
Look better for the minutes to have it, what the count was, though.
All right. You can object, and we can vote.
I made the motion, you second it, now you can say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Sounds good.
one no,
See?
one nay.
Very good. I like this group. So we were discussing, because the planning board has a meeting, like literally 7 minutes ago, and the same thing, and I think Bob had brought up that it'd be interesting to see if they could videotape that meeting, because it's rather important. At the same time, Mark, you sent me an email today, right?
Correct.
Tuesday is really his only day.
Tuesday is my day, yes. As you stated, that Tuesdays is the best day for you also.
Yes, absolutely.
I think we should just leave it the way it is, because there's other people using this room.
Because as we also know that people can record it with their personal cell phone and put it on YouTube too, so,
Absolutely.
I mean, if they
Yep.
if we want planning board done, then that is an alternative.
Les Elder posted looking for a camera to record all the different meetings, so I don't know if you got any response or not.
I think just about everyone has a camera like sitting in their
Yeah.
pocket.
I don't know, let me see.
Yeah, he's probably got a flip phone.
No way.
Now,
Bob, yeah?
the only thing, last night, at the selectmen's meeting, we cannot force the
Any committee
committees
to record.
to record anything.
Absolutely.
We have to ask, and if they do not want to, we cannot do that.
Yep.
But it's still in that, with that being said, does not stop somebody from the general public
Correct.
from
General
recording
public
the
can do it,
meeting if
but
they
we
want to,
can't.
right?
We can't go there and do it. I mean, I know I asked the ZBA and he let me do it, but that might be a permanent thing for me now, that I'm gonna end up doing their meetings, but we just can't force them to do it. So if you're gonna stay with the same date, third Tuesday, it's fine. Hey, Tom just brought it up only because he wants to do that, but he was at that meeting last night as well, and he saw the results.
Excuse me.
Gotcha.
Personally, I feel we're doing public business, we should be doing it in the eye of the public.
I
Public
agree.
should be able to see everything we do, every board. I'm on the ZBA, and I hope you are there to do every recording in the ZBA.
Or we'll train you how to do it.
Well, you train me if you want, but good luck with that.
The only thing is, don't make it so long. 4
And-
hours.
And what was also mentioned last night is there's still budget left over for that. Theoretically, we could actually have another camera system if it fell within the budget that was still available for that, to where you could have 2 meetings concurrently.
Any other discussion? Does anyone want to make a motion to stick with the same date, or we just? stick
I'll make
with
a
the same
motion to
date?
continue with
Second.
the same date,
Seconded
which
by
is the
Peg.
third Tuesday of every month.
Third Tuesday
With
of every
additional
month.
days in budget season.
So to hopefully not reword your thing. So
No,
we're
because-
gonna continue.
I want to put that in there because I want no one to think it's just going to be just a Tuesday, because when it gets to hot times, we have more than one night a week sometimes.
I completely agree. I'm glad you actually made that clarification. So the budget meeting will be held third Tuesday of every month
6 PM.
at 6 PM, and unless needed. Whoops, with that,
Well, we don't meet in July, correct?
we'll talk about that.
If you want to meet, you can.
You won't be here.
Oh, I don't know, I'll probably be here.
Do I have a
Warm up
second?
here. Second.
Okay, we are all seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aaron's being contrarian tonight.
She's eating her popcorn.
So we're gonna stick
I
with the
haven't
third.
eaten all day, I'm starving. And it's supposed to help me.
Yeah, well, we don't want hangry at this meeting. All right, so let's see. So the part G of unfinished business, the process to request documents and information from the town. So I got a heads up from Aaron and Heather and met with the ladies. Was it 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago?
Gosh, has it been that long?
Yeah, it actually has. And just kind of went over, we decided that we will get the town documents on the Wednesday before every meeting. So all of the town financials, we'll get them cyclically. It's going to be put on someone's calendar. We know we're going to get the information on that date. It gives us almost a full week to review it. I was more than happy to go with that. It's a lot more organized than what we kind of had going on last year with the town. That being said, actually talking to Heather, talking to Aaron, the town and the budget committee are going to do a lot better job this year of organizing, setting expectations between the two groups, so that we know what we're going to do. Bob's working on organizing a general flow of the calendar and trying to get the budget season done much earlier this year, so we're not racing around and having 3 meetings in a week.
Good
and-
luck with that.
Mr. NATO, come on now, let's be positive. It's still early in the year. Just so we know, this Friday I have a meeting with Peg and Earl and Nate, and I'm not sure if anyone else.
Yeah, Doug Shute.
And Doug Shute, the chair, to kind of talk about the same things. As we know, the school did an exceptional job last year, giving us all the information we need. Every question we had was available for us in that packet they gave us. So I'm not too concerned with what to expect in this meeting. I think it's going to be more of the same, and just trying to like maybe start a little bit earlier.
Are we going to get the packets mailed to us so we can pick them up here, or will they electronically sent to us?
You know what, I'll write that down. That's a really good question. The packet they gave us is about this thick and it was bound, so they may have to drop them off maybe.
Usually,
at a time.
No, I mean,
there's an
the-
envelope out here, and you just find one with your name on it, and the stuff will be in there.
Okay, the monthly expense report.
Oh, no, I'm talking
those
about
come
the one for the budget season.
Oh, the budget
Yeah.
season, that's a whole different ballgame, but
Yeah.
your monthly expense
Electronic.
report,
Electronic.
those are all electronic.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion that we also request from the Board of Selectmen that we get a copy of the trustees of the trust funds so that we can see what's in all those accounts too many times we're guessing what's in those accounts, and is there any activity in those accounts? I think we should get on an annual basis, you know, it's more on.
On
not
an
the next
annual
thing.
basis?
Not annual, but I mean, on a regular basis, what I meant to say, like, just like when you get a copy, give us a copy, so that we just are staying in the loop, and we can see what's happening with that money.
Okay.
Do you have a specific time frame that you'd like to see them, or just monthly, or?
Quarterly, maybe?
I'm not sure how often they get them.
Quarterly, I believe. We haven't, I haven't had one.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not putting a time frame, because I'm not quite sure if that's changed. I know what it was when I was a selectman, but that was many years ago, so I don't know what it is now. So I'd like to see, whenever they do get one, I'd like
I will
to,
make sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Do we need me to make a motion on that?
I don't think so.
No, this should be
Okay.
automatic.
We're-
Okay, I just wanted,
Yep. Like I said, we're really going to go early this year. We're going to set expectations of what they expect from us and we expect from them. So there's no surprises, no concern, no what exactly happened. Bob, thank you.
I like to get the revolving fund.
Revolving fund, okay.
I like to get it when the selectmen get it. We cannot do anything with it, but there's information in there that can help us.
it's just like the trustees of the trust fund,
Yep, same thing. There's some, we could persuade, there's some money that can be used out of there.
Just that's, the treasurer has that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it does.
So he'd have to come from him. So.
Yeah, you have to come from
So
him.
talk to Mac about that.
I think
I'm
the
sorry.
selectmen get it once a month, I think.
I think it's on, which one? On the trustee of the trust
No,
funds, I believe
revolving.
is quarterly,
Revolving.
and on the revolving, I haven't seen it yet. But as you know, we've been
Yeah, the numbers are not.
in limbo, so to speak.
They're not all correct.
So as soon as we're unlimboed,
Unlimboed?
unlimboed.
Cool.
We
So-
we're
Okay.
going live this week with payroll and all, so finally switching everything over to TD.
Okay.
So hopefully,
And we're definitely going to leverage Erin as our selectman rep, you know, to gather this information, and I'll
That's
be a
what she's
part of
here
that.
for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so-
Yep, we just want to make that very obvious, and I know from talking to Erin, and like I said, talking to Heather, we're all on the same page. We know what we want, we know what we need. Any other documents we like from the town? We'll go to town first? Okay.
Okay. never mind.
From the school board.
Oh, from the
Hi,
school.
Peg.
Okay, I know from the last meeting, requested the fund balances,
Okay.
but they are not in the packet. Sorry, Sean. And the bank reconciliation, which I do have if anybody wants to really look at. And our meeting is the second Wednesday, so Nate sends everything out that Thursday. So it's a Thursday before
Thursday
our
before the
meeting, yeah.
meeting. Perfect.
And I've asked him to include this time, the next time, the fund balances. And I don't know if this is online, but he may be able to just do a PDF and send the bank reconciliation.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'd like to work with Nate and maybe get him access to move those documents into like Google Docs or someplace where we're not getting, you know, our mailbox is filled with huge PDFs over and over and over again, and versioning and all that other fun things that come with Google Docs, but
Okay.
we'll work towards that.
all right. Have to help me too. Sorry.
Yeah.
On the school expense report, do you get line item transfers?
When we go through,
Do you show where you're transferring money from one line to another?
I don't believe so.
not necessarily, no.
Don't do that anymore. What it is, if the line goes out, it goes out.
If it goes over, it's going to go over.
Not like it was way back when he took from here and put here and traveled back and forth. It was like a road map to nowhere.
Right.
Toby Eaton did that, but now, if it goes over, it goes over.
Okay, so
We don't.
There's
we don't-
Yeah,
no-
I'll go through all of this.
I'm very familiar with this, but what I'm asking is, so if I'm looking at a line that is over,
Yeah.
where did they get the money to fill that line?
It's a bottom line budget.
I understand.
Okay, so it's not necessarily where you get the money, it's the,
Alright.
my mind is, why did it go over?
I understand it's a bottom line budget, okay? So they have the pool, they can take the pool and put it anywhere they want to go. But what I want to know is when they came before this board and they did their presentation and they said, I need $10,000 to buy 6 laptops. And you come back and you look at the budget and you see that, okay, you know, it's gone. The money's not there, but they didn't get the laptops. What did you do with the money? So that's a line. They transferred that money from that line. They didn't zero it out. They just left a dollar in it. But they transferred that money from that line and they put it to some other place.
If it's a line item, it won't be a dollar. It'll still be the amount that they was originally budgeted for.
They moved the money someplace.
No, but what I'm saying is,
where do they move
they
the
don't do
money?
it that way. They don't bring that line down to compensate for a line that was over no more.
So you're not keeping any record. So we do
Just-
not know where. So if you went, and again,
Do you have another red sheet?
there was.
I know what you're talking about. Toby Eaton
What-
did that before, and he used to move line here and then go here. Check what
Where
the
the amended,
adjustment was.
where the adjustment was. So
And then-
you guys aren't making any adjustments, so we're not keeping track.
Yeah.
And so we don't know where the money gets moved.
No.
Not unless you ask the question.
But I will tell you, we did that one time and we never did it again. You had a hard time finding out from where it went. There were so many road maps in this thing. Lisa Stewart gave up on it, never asked for it again.
So I'm gonna go back to what I originally said. If we see a line that's for $20,000 and it's at $38,000, then the question's gonna be, A, why did it go over? And B, what are you gonna cut down to make it be paid for?
Again, so as a school board, they would be getting that on a constant basis. Where are you getting the money from? Well, I got it from a grant, or I pulled it from this line. Fuel, we expected to expend $30,000 in fuel. However, fuel was only $20,000. There's an extra 10, so we put it towards the building, put it towards an expense of maintenance and repair. Speds over. There's different things that you're looking at and saying, okay, insurance, health insurance. So they're in the black on health insurance. So how many ghost positions do they budget for? How many people, if the teacher's contract still has, in the previous years had a buyback, how much buyback is there? So there's a chunk of
So
money that's there.
usually those questions, a majority of those questions are asked when it comes time for the next budget.
Well, those are things I kind of like to know.
Yeah, and you have every right to ask. I don't know if we have authority to make them answer it though. Especially
No.
SPED.
SPED and legal, they can overspend as much as they want. Okay, the SPED director, I'm not so sure, but
Because you gotta remember
direct
one thing,
services,
when the
yes,
people
they
go
can.
to the ballot and they vote, they don't vote for each line item. They vote for one lump sum.
They again, fully understand, but it's the budget that we give them.
Right.
It's not the budget that the school board gives them.
But it's still a lump sum, and
But the school board,
our authority, I believe, stops at that point. Other than we can ask the question, we can't make them answer it.
but the thing is, my point to you is when they set in that audience and we start saying, and we go in line by line, and they give me and say, I need to have, we are bare bones, we need to have XYZ for $10,000. So now the next year rolls around, I want to look at it and say, okay, did you buy this? No, we didn't. Well, what did you use the money for? Well, we used it for, well, that's not what you said. You told me what you wanted it for.
Right.
Because it's our budget that goes to the town folks. It's not their budget.
Right.
It's our budget now.
But-
and I say this is ours because now I'm on
Historically, for the
dog
last
side,
couple
so
of
yes.
years, and Peg's been on, every meeting, she'll give us the highlights of the stuff that she has some concerns on, that's going over, or they expect to go over, and then we'll discuss it at that point. But again, our authority is very thin, I
Our
think.
authority for how they spend their money right now is little if none.
Right.
It's just not there. But it does give me background. So when it comes to budget season, which is going to be busy,
That's why you're sitting right next to the school rep.
she may not wanna be
Smile
sit-
now.
She may not want to be sitting next to me for long. so-
Bob, you want to swap seats? Hopefully, I'll be able to explain things to you.
David?
I can partially understand what he was saying of like waiting until budget season to start asking all these questions seems to be, okay, we're already over busy. Let's can we get to where we can
Well, we
ask those
do,
questions?
but what I'm saying
before
is, if they
then?
come back the next year and ask for the same thing over, then that question is a little red flag coming up saying, wait a minute, what do you mean you're asking for it again? Why didn't you buy it last year? You know what I mean? So that, it's like a double whammy. She's gotta explain to us as a board, every meeting, what's happening with the budget and what the concerns are. No differently than Aaron's gonna do with the town. So you'll have every opportunity to ask any question you want. But as long as they keep it within that number that the people voted for, our hands are tied.
It's a pool of money,
Yeah.
and they can do, again, they can overspend on sped, and they can overspend on legal, and that's,
But myself personally, I'd rather see a line overspent, because I'd have a couple questions. One, did we figure it wrong, or did they figure it wrong? Or two, is there a problem that there should be more to begin with? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't know, if they made everything balance out, then you wouldn't know if everything's right.
Yeah.
but it doesn't balance out, because if they do use the amendments, then you know where the money trail come from, where, you know, because again, back when we used to send, and back when there was a fund board, we would send a monthly sheet. Here you go. This is where we moved the lines to. So they knew where the trail went, and you knew, okay, we took it from this because, again, there was extra money in fuel oil. I mean, because right now there is extra money in fuel oil. You're looking at it, but your transportation's off. So there's different
Right.
things.
And then another thing that Sean brought into the show just last year with the Excel sheet, that's gonna show a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because up to last year, and I still use the PDF because I'm old school, but Tom and Sean, and I'm not sure if anybody else on the board's gonna start using Excel, it does jump right out at you a lot quicker than trying to diagnose a PDF, you know?
Yeah, and I actually did like a month to month with it, so you could see if they're spending like 8.3% every month, and you knew they're kind of on track. Some items, you know, the 1 month it would jump up quite a bit. There might be like a 70% increase from the previous month, but then that's when I would ask, you know, Peg, can you find out why this is going on? You know, 99% of the time it's a very legit reason. This is the month that they buy this, X, Y, or Z, you know.
Well, it's a one-time payment.
Sure, things like that. But I think we do have an ample opportunity during the year, as it progresses, to review the data that they give us and ask those questions. So that, I think your point is, like, we don't want to wait until budget
Right.
season to ask these difficult questions or, you know, probing questions. We want to do it when we
Because then
see
you
it.
will be here every night for the 3 and 4 or 5 weeks on those meetings.
Exactly.
I remember them days.
That's fun.
Cool. So to wrap up this area, any more questions, any more comments? All right, great. So like I said, this Friday I'll be meeting with Peg, Doug, Nate, and Earl, just to kind of like set our expectations, and I think it's going to go well, just like the town meeting went. Now we're going to move on to new business. Discussion, the bylaws subcommittee to review and recommend updates to our bylaws. As everyone saw or were here for the first meeting, our bylaws are old. They've been here for 5 years. We haven't touched them. I don't think anyone's really looked at them that closely. Bob's taken a stab at making some updates, but what I'd really like to do is to get, you know, three or four people together that are willing to sit down and kind of go over them and make updates as a group, and then come back to the rest of the committee saying, these are the updates that we recommend that we need to make.
Why can't we do it like we do the minutes? Everybody makes their own suggestions, and then we hash it out. That's what we've done in the past, because if you have 3 or 4 people thinking one way, then you got a couple other people thinking something different, then you gotta hash it out anyway.
Well, I'm more than willing to have like everyone be able to make their updates.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yep.
So everybody looks at them, highlights what, maps down what they want to change, come in, and we all hash it out. If everybody agrees it, okay, it's in. If the majority says no, it's not.
Definitely one way to look at it.
Can anybody see the ones that I was doing?
Yep.
Now, I put blue and red. I think it's the blue. Blue is the ones that should be inserted. The red should be coming out.
Okay.
And I'm not quite finished with it. I stopped doing that because I'm doing something else. But I think some of that did need some updates, and they still may be some updates needed. But it'd be nice to get a committee of 3, then bring them out to the committee and vote on.
I don't even think we need a committee is what I'm getting at, because you got, everybody's gonna have their own thoughts. Everyone's gonna have their own changes, if
Well,
any.
yeah, they're not gonna be automatic.
That's right.
The ones
So-
you're gonna put on, you guys will vote for them.
Right, so why not just hash it out all at once? Everybody takes them home, next meeting, we come in, we don't really not have that much to look at next meeting, and make that our goal.
If I can get them done by that time, well, at least.
Well, you're just gonna do your suggestions,
Yeah.
right? You know, and then I'll do mine, and he'll do his, and,
Are you gonna do them on Google Doc?
no, I'm gonna do it on paper, and come in, and we're gonna hash it out.
So we're not gonna see it.
Is this
Get a
the
preview.
July meeting that we're doing this on?
No, May.
The one that's been canceled?
No, but you see what I'm saying? Because just because the 3 people might think it's good, the other people might not think it's good.
Yeah, but that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna vote on each one. If it doesn't work, it goes out.
I still think we should do it individually. Everybody looks at it, writes down what they want to change or pull out. We come in, more than one person may have the same thing, and we just hash it out. It'll probably take us an hour.
Oh, boy, I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of writing in there.
No, I don't think so. They're not that outdated.
There's some that I made changes because of what happened in the past. Some of those changes I made because of what took place. And they have to be updated because now everybody needs to know what goes on. And that's including the secretary, what happened. I'm not gonna get into it again, but when you cannot make a meeting, you've gotta ask permission from the chair to, I will take it from there. It's just up to him. But if it becomes a habit, then then the committee has to take action on
You're
it.
talking about attendance?
Yes.
Oh, that's in most any board's bylaws. But yeah,
Not now, it's
well, we'll put it in. That's all.
already, I've already
See,
put something that stuff.
we could have had that all resolved in 10 minutes right now. 2 minutes.
Less than that.
All right, I just have a quick question. You've put your changes into Google Docs?
Yes, Sherry
Okay.
she put the document in there and
All
I went
right,
in.
so if I go in, I mean, I
change his
prefer, no, I would prefer to do changes, but I don't want to do changes on yours.
Oh, okay, I see what
That's what I'm saying. Everybody comes in with their stuff.
And they're gonna,
Well, I know, but I prefer doing it online
So-
rather than everybody having
yeah, but
handwritten
I think I see
stuff.
what Stan's talking
So,
about.
but my intention would be actually, the subcommittee would sit down together and make changes as a committee, as a subcommittee, and actually have a discussion. You sound very passionate about this. You could be a part of that.
I honestly don't think a subcommittee is necessary. I think we could have resolved, just a little time we're talking right now, we could resolve 2 or 3 things, but just talking about it quickly.
Google Docs is good for joint live editing, but it's not nearly as good for independent editing and then merging. It's like, is there anybody who doesn't have Microsoft Word or a variety or some variation of it? Which means if you actually edit all of those independently, with track changes turned on the document in the original, you can actually merge them all together and see everybody's changes all in one document, and then you discuss it.
You can do that too.
I've seen that done before. It typically ends up being
Yeah, well.
kind of a mess because you get a lot of people changing the same exact areas, and then when the merge
Well, that's what I'm
happens-
getting at. If you go to Google Docs and Bob goes in and changes something, and then Peg goes in, oh, I don't like that, she changes it, and next thing you know, we get this change on top of change on top of change.
But that's why
rainbow.
I would like to kind
That's
of
why.
bring an actual 2 or 3 or 4 people together.
I
So you don't have to go.
No, I'm just saying, I don't understand why we can't just highlight what we don't like in the bylaws. We sit down like we are right now and say, okay, Bob, what did you find you want to change? Oh, yeah, me too, I found that. You know what I mean?
Yep, Aaron?
Can we just take a vote on voting on
Would you
whether
like
we
to-
want a committee
would you
to
like-
do the voting on the bylaws? And that way we could start moving it along, so we're not here until 9 o'clock at night?
Sure.
Is that possible?
Would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we vote to make a decision whether we should
You
have.
can't make a motion, you can't make a motion like that. You can make a motion either to establish
It's
a
no
committee.
worse than the discussion that's been going on for 10 minutes.
You gotta make a motion to establish the subcommittee, if that's what you want to do.
There we go. I second it, Stan.
I didn't make the motion. I said you gotta make the motion.
Very good one.
I make a motion to authorize a subcommittee to look at the bylaws.
I'll second that.
We have a second.
All those in favor?
Discussion?
Oh, yeah.
Now we'd like to
We already, we had
Now
a
we're
discussion.
Now we're discussion of
Yeah,
the.
and I'm used to like the real world where it's not as regimented. Probably need to get back into the actual
Of the bylaws.
formal discussion. Yes, exactly.
Of the bylaws. Are you seeing that there are major changes that need to be made, or just a couple of little minor things? aside from the attendance of the secretary, which to me is a minor thing, it could have happened probably 15 minutes ago. But are there major changes?
They are. At one time, I
Does
put
it-
in
does it need a full-
speakerphone in there, because at one time, we didn't have it. This was back in 2015. Somebody could have challenged that. Why are we putting somebody on the phone here? And there was a key vote on a budget.
Okay.
And we never had it in there. Somebody
But
could
that's
have
not
said-
what he's asking you. I think what he's asking you, did you find a whole list of stuff?
Oh, no, I found some, but I want to go over it again.
Okay,
because
that's fine.
And you guys are gonna either approve it or not. You're gonna just either take them out, but this is something I saw last year and the year before. And it doesn't have to, but it's a little more, it gives you a little more direction on where you wanna go. But sometimes we don't know where we're going.
I agree. The bylaws should be updated every year. Actually, the law says we're supposed to review them every year.
Yeah. Well, these are a little outdated.
Yeah.
So Mark, did that answer your question?
You can look,
Yes.
you got document, was it doc?
Okay, so do we have to vote on that?
Well, we're having discussion right now.
Maybe that's all I got is what I wrote on there.
Only
that
9 of
we
us.
didn't
It's
do
not like-
Anymore, but
You know,
the trouble is,
yeah.
there
50
was something else I
people.
wanted to add, and I can't, for the life of me, I wish I would have put it in, but we can always change them year to year. But these are the ones I think are needed, because we had a discussion one time about the secretary,
Okay.
okay? And you were there, I believe, and it was all over the place. We didn't have nothing firm. Now we do, unless you vote against it.
Sure. David?
Just to confirm, if I recall reading the RSA correctly, we're required to review the bylaws annually. There's nothing stopping us from reviewing them quarterly. So
Right.
if we wanted to just let Bob come with edits, just him, and we can review those and vote up or down on any of those, and then if somebody else wants to make more changes beyond that.
Just to like kind of focus on the motion to actually create a subcommittee. Any other comments?
There's only 9 of us. I don't think it's necessary. I like to talk it out and, see where someone's coming from over that change, rather than just a committee coming in and say, yeah, this is what I think we ought to do,
Tammy, do you have any comments or questions?
Personally, I think I agree with Stan. I mean, I think we could just review them. I don't think there's a whole lot of changes that need to be made either. I read through them. There were some things, maybe like we could see what Bob had to say as far as this change. And I think we could get it done real quickly too.
Cool.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to agree with Stan, I mean, I think, again, if we look at the bylaws, come in, sit down, would have spent more time,
Sure.
I
Trying to
want to
discuss
say
it.
that.
What
So-
we're gonna do with them?
and we can quickly blast through them.
And I,
Yeah, we could have had them done by
just
now.
add my voice to those three. That's what I was getting at with let's just have Bob bring in his changes, and it's like,
Okay, I'll call the vote then.
Permission from Stan to withdraw my motion.
We can make a. We can
No, we'll
vote.
call the
we
vote.
can just, yeah, it could be,
Call the vote, starting right?
No.
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 Nah.
Yeah, no.
I vote yes too.
So it's, let's see, 6-2?
6-2. 2-6.
2-6. No, the vote, yes, you're correct. You're right, 2-6. So,
Excellent.
everybody,
I just wanted it to happen.
for the next meeting, have all your suggestions, that's all.
I like that.
And Bob, you continue
So
making
this
your
may not be
changes.
very.
You continue making your changes. Bring those in.
We'll see.
So the next one might not be as popular as I was hoping, but again, we're having a discussion on the Technology and Communications Subcommittee. A lot of it is, last year we got a lot of emails filling up our email box. We really weren't embracing technology like we probably should. It's a time saver, cost saver. I'd like to get a group of people together to kind of work on the technical aspects of our community. And also, maybe perhaps, once we iron out any kinks, move it to the town and kind of give them a heads up of what's worked for us and other organizations in
I'll
town.
make a motion to support that subcommittee.
And I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by David. Does anyone have any more discussion? I hear none. We'll do the vote. We'll start with my left. Bob?
Yes.
All right.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Sure.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. That was easy.
See, everybody agreed with me again.
Stan is just like, he's undefeated tonight.
I love it when people say, I hate, as much as I hate to admit it, I agree with them. I love that
I didn't
part.
say I hate it, I said it pains me.
Next one, budget season subcommittee. Now, the idea of this one was really to give us a calendar, not only for this year, but for next year. Let's say, I think Bob, let's just say next year, Bob decides he doesn't want to run. We may or may not have anyone on the board that, or the committee that actually knows where all these things need to be. I think it's rather important. I think it also sets expectations for myself. Last year, it was suddenly like, oh, everything's going really swimmingly, we're only meeting once a month, and then all of a sudden, bam, okay, who's open this day, who's open this day, who's open this day, and we're trying to like juggle our calendars around, you know.
Well, first of all, you're limited to the DRA's requirements. You gotta work from backwards on that. Bob knows what I'm talking about. They'll tell you what you have to have done by a certain day, and you gotta work backwards. So until you get that, all right, then you're limited to what the school can actually give you, and the town can actually give you.
Yep.
So we can say all we want, but if they don't supply it to us, because they can't physically get it to us,
But
you know.
I think that's the part where we kind of come up with like best scenario, best case scenario, and this is when we want it. Then we talk to the school board, we talk to the school. This is, what does this timeline work? Does this timeline work for you?
First of all, we set the schedule, our schedule. Okay, the selectmen they have theirs, we select ours, and the school follows us. And so we set it, and like Stan said, we have these important dates that we have to establish, make sure we have them. They won't come out till November, but if they follow the pattern, I've already got it, so where it should be. So it's gonna be no surprise, because if they stay standard, but it's good to have the official, but I've already started this,
Yep.
and I want somebody to follow me just in case I don't want to do it anymore, because each year it's a little tougher. You have to put in all these boards that are meeting, and then now you see the empty spot that you got to work with, and it's
Sure.
not very easy.
So one of the things during discussion with Heather and Aaron, we really were kind of pressing to see how early could we actually get it done, within reason, obviously. Not have that drop dead date and rush to that, but actually have a bit of cushion. Maybe get everything done before Thanksgiving, right? So Thanksgiving.
No way, you can't. This town budget, town books aren't gonna be closed. They're not even gonna know what they spent for the year until the end of December.
Well, we don't wait till the end of December to make their last vote.
How are you gonna do your comparisons?
We never could,
Yeah.
because by the time December comes along,
You gotta have some history, and you're kicking out a whole month worth of history. That you can't, I look at that.
yeah, but
the-
we can't
You can't wait.
because,
No, but I mean, if you say by Thanksgiving, that's really pushing it.
Schools one side, because schools like usually by Thanksgiving you get it, but town, no, you're guessing on that last month.
Yeah, but you to even take more time away is what I'm getting at. I don't know, I think,
Look,
But why would you
Chairman, I
not?
disagree. Okay, because what it is, I've figured it out how we could do it. We start 1 week earlier. That's the last week in September. We could be done by the 20th of November. Our budget, our number, but that, we would need that 20th to work on it. This is what we're gonna give them, and that's it. We'll make the adjustments that we wanna make, and that would be it. Until, well, I could go maybe the last week in November, or the latest, I think I saw December 3rd, we'd have to come up together with a joint meeting and get one number out.
we've always been beginning of December that I remember.
What's that?
When we finally putting stuff together, final decisions.
We can, but we don't have to. We have to remember, that budget can be changed all the way up to the deliberative session. Nothing stays the same.
Yeah,
And it's not impossible. As if I can find my 2015 calendar, we started back in October.
well, we can start as early as we can start next week if you wanted to.
What it is, it gives us that 1 week, and then we have a week before we start the school. And not like last year, we had 2 days off, and then we were right into the school.
Well, I mean, it's a good try. You can make it a goal, see what happens, but
Well, it'd be up to the selectmen to give it to us. That would be the thing.
So-
Okay, we have to wait for you people.
Communication,
Yeah.
so we don't wind up with a problem like the warrant articles last year.
The warrant articles, that was my fault. I pushed it too fast. now this time, I looked at the calendar. We can do it later. It has to be done later because they have to put it all together. Because the CIP is not gonna come out till third week in December, where the selectmen are going to, no, the planning board's going to offer it to the selectmen. Here's what we are suggesting that you fund. Then it'll be up to the selectmen to decide, we'll take it all or in part. And they'll just take what they want to fund, and the rest of it, they have to tell the planning board that we're only funding these, we're not gonna fund those. That's gonna take time to come down, to put it all together before we get to it. Because the selectmen, they've got to recommend or not recommend, and then we come in and put our recommendation. And if it comes out early, I would like to know which ones they're gonna do and get those documents right to us. Not at the last minute like it did last year. We know what they're going to accept, give us the documents ahead of time. We'll still be working on the school budget, but we'll have a little time off. We'll be able to look at those and not get them at the last minute.
And
We're gonna do the town first this year, right?
yes, we are.
Yeah.
so I think this discussion kind of proves the point that there's a lot of variables and it's a lot of confusion in attempting to organize this at the last minute or in the last month or two. So I think if we can get a real push on this and get a general outline, I'm not saying we have to have everything in stone,
Well-
in 2 months, but definitely get everyone on the same page when we're expecting this stuff to happen.
Once it gets done, pass it to the committee. What days are good for you? I've stayed away from Christmas as far as I can.
Why?
I remember last year, there were some members that couldn't make it, so we backed it up to our meeting. We changed that into a workshop, so I'm trying, I'm
Well,
gonna.
you can make it a goal, I mean,
I like having goals, Stan.
Because the school, you're negotiating a teacher's contract this year, correct?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be sucking up a lot of your
Oh,
days.
yeah.
But we do them afternoons, so it's okay.
It's just that if I get two people to show them how I was doing it, but it's not set in stone. Because this year I got some variables I can play with, but it depends on the committee. I'm trying to make it so everybody can show up. Everybody's got to show up.
Yep.
I hate to have one person gone because you'll miss something out of it.
So in many respects, this kind of mimics the workshops that the Board of Selectmen are having. I certainly want to understand more about this process and the dates and how things need to be done. I think everyone that's on the committee, especially the people who, just won 3 years, right? So they may be the leads the next year or the year afterwards to have to really understand this stuff.
It just makes it easier for you. You can see ahead of time what we're going to do.
Yep.
Before that, we used to be a meeting. Okay, what are we going to meet next? We
Yep.
always ran into somebody. Well, I'm on the board. There's a board meeting tonight. I can't go. There was only one time we had only 5 people show up at a presentation for the school.
Yeah.
We just barely got by that one, and no roadmap at all. And it helps the school out, and sometimes the town. And also, we select who we want to see that night. We want to see these people that night. And I've got a plan. It seems to work good. The 3 big budgets are separated with little ones, so it doesn't take up all our time.
I'll make a motion to support that.
I just need to find
Do I
2
hear a
other people
second?
who want to get on it.
That's a different.
Yeah, I guess the question is, do we actually need a subcommittee for it, or do we just need 1 or 2 volunteers to work with him on
Well-
it specifically?
It doesn't matter, it's one and the same, just a different language. Since
Different
one half
language.
dozen the other, right? So I make a motion to support the establishing a subcommittee for the
I'll
budget
second.
season.
Second by David. I think discussion's over. Let's have them.
Yes.
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 I will go yes. Cool. That's the one.
It's not foolproof, but it's a start, because as we go along, we can see where we might find a little divot, but I don't think there's gonna be anything in this one.
Well, I'm gonna make another motion that we double your pay.
Have to double my pay again.
2 times
You know something?
0.
I keep looking at my
Wait a
wallet,
minute,
thinking,
we're gonna run out of money if we keep doubling his pay.
2 times 0 is still 0, so.
Yeah, we all.
I tell you, look at that wallet. It's not getting any bigger.
I'm trying, Bob, I'm trying. 2 years in a row.
Oh, my.
Very gracious. Nobody else offered me anything.
I'll buy you a donut next time you meet at
Oh, thank
Dunkin'
you.
Donuts next time.
I got me there.
So now let's move to the town financial report.
So we're about a third of the way through the year. Almost.
So one thing also to take in consideration, these microphones are extremely sensitive. They hear everything you're doing when you move papers around. So just keep that if someone else is talking to a minimum. Thank you.
So this doesn't have this month in it, really. So this has a quarter of the year, 25%, basically.
Right.
And that's basically where the budget's at, 24.6.
So we're under.
Chairman, there's only one thing I would
No,
like to make.
involves pay raise.
It's not in there, is it? The only comment I want to make is something we got to start looking at. Last year's budget, the final expenses. Tom made a point last year, and not last year, this year. We returned over $500,000 in monies. Some of that can be explained. I've seen it. There were 4 budgets that were overspent, and some are questionable. There is one item that I saw that really does make a big difference, and that was the police full-time salary. It was only spent, 75% of that was only spent. And I have to believe that there were 2 officers less, but I don't know how long they were out. But there was also another one, and I don't have it with me unless I can find the townhouse grant money. I remember that there was a culvert put in the townhouse road, and from what I understand, he was going to take most of that money, most of that grant money.
Well, it's a warrant article money.
It's a warrant article, yes, but the thing is,
It comes from the fuel tax.
yeah, but you combine the salary there and that 164,000 that came back, those 2 alone, over $300,000 going back. That's a big number. But there were other things I've also saw, and if you don't know the history of what happened that year, those numbers won't mean anything. We didn't have a bookkeeper for a while, so we lost. Well, there was no money being spent there. But the contracted services and town administrator line, which also the bookkeeper is in.
It's inflated due to it.
Yeah, because the,
Right.
what's her name came in and
Joanne.
that overspent that line, so. But there are some numbers in there that I really question, because one should not have gone over. And that's the outside appropriations. Those are set amounts. Yet
Right.
the amounts went over. And there's only a comment I just made, because I always like to see what was spent last year. Once they get reconciled, then you see the whole amount come back. But if you don't know the history, those numbers will mean nothing. You know, and I just wanted to let Tom know, 2 items, it was over $100,000 that came back from the police, and that was part of that was a full-time salary line. 75%, I don't think I've ever seen it that low, not used.
So we have any questions for Aaron or comments about
I
budget,
would
town
probably,
budget?
I didn't have time to write those questions. There's some I've got to ask, and if I can just say
You
that.
have my email. Send me an email.
Yeah. That one with it is a warrant article, but still, that's a lot of money that came back. And I just can't believe there's that much, because that was a culvert, and they did not finish it. They were having trouble with it. And
They were waiting for the paving. They're doing the paving. They had to wait on the paving until spring. They should be accomplishing that
okay,
in
maybe,
the near, yeah.
but I don't,
You're talking about on Townhouse Road, correct?
I didn't see it encumbered. And some of the encumbered lines were not spent. The others were, and what was not spent went back to the general fund. That's the 2016.
Well, if it's encumbered, Bob, they got 1 year to spend the money.
Yep, and some of that money went back. Some of it, they didn't spend it all. And that, you'll see some encumbrances on this one, I'm sure. I just wanted to bring it up, Mr. Chairman. Sometimes we should look at those old ones. I mean, not old ones, but the following, the year after, just to see how much is spent, because now the bills, they go up to December 31st. They'll continue to pay bills right up to that point. And we won't know the extent of it until they all get reconciled. I always like looking at them, because did we do something wrong? Like Tom said, he thinks we didn't do our job. We did. It's just the variables that made the difference. Unemployment, we were not fully employed.
Sure. So one thing I'd recommend is maybe making sure, write down the questions for next time we can hand them over to Erin and she can get any answers we need.
Yeah,
I got a
there's,
question, I'd like to ask you now, though. On the police, you're at 93% spent on legal.
I just saw that.
Is that because it's a retainer?
I'm not sure. I saw that. I'll ask the chief.
Because if that's billable hours, you're in trouble on that line.
Right. I'm hoping it's just an error, but
It might not be,
noticed
it
that.
may, it may be a set amount for those
Right.
services for the year.
Right. But I've marked that one off to ask him.
Okay, cool. Any other questions for Erin? I don't want to rush us on this part, but just,
And there's a good chance, just looking at what the number is, the fact that it's a clean, even 13,000 seems like that was a single check written as a retainer for a year, not an hourly rate that was being, I'd have been surprised if that was an hourly rate billed out to exactly that amount at this point in time.
Yeah. I assume you're gonna want these folders back, right,
yeah,
tonight?
feel free to grab any of the papers you want
Yeah.
with you.
Chairman, I got one more question.
Yes, Bob?
Where's the sewer in here?
Last page, I believe, used to be.
But I don't have it.
On the expenditure report?
Yep.
This is what I received. Blue is down.
No, I'm just taking one.
No, it's not here.
All right. Figure out where that went.
Usually sewer's the very last thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
it's
on
good.
page 11, actually 10 and 11.
Moved it up, huh?
It's under highway, or after highway.
Thanks, Erin.
They must have moved it.
But that's solid waste.
No, that's solid
Solid waste.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
sorry.
sewer.
Come on, Aaron, get another bag of popcorn. It's not in here.
Appears to be missing.
No, it's not.
It's always usually the last one.
When did she send this to you? Is this the latest one she sent?
This is from last,
Fourth.
one was 4/4, the top of the paper.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I will
Thanks, Erin.
ask Vanessa. You want me to have it? You want me to email it to all of you?
Yes, please.
Can I do?
And it's not as if
Or
you
can
did not
send it to
print
you?
it either.
I'll send it to you.
Send it to
and
me, I'll send it
Email
out.
it out.
I'm sorry, Peg?
Just looking at it, it's not as if you did not print that one particular page. It
No,
was
Oh,
just
yeah.
not
like it
there.
ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions before we move on to the school board?
Just tied in with the ones that are large and same with the police, can we get like an idea of anything that's a large percentage, like 70% or 65% in terms of,
You remember, some
Just-
of these things are one-time payments.
I know,
Yeah.
but just a tag explanation, because like what you provided with from the school is.
Well, if you
gave
tell
some
me
of that
what you
stuff.
want answers on, I'd be more than happy to
Okay.
give you answers in the following meeting. Obviously, I can't give you an answer on it right tonight.
Right. Yeah, no, just in general, there were a couple of them that were,
Which ones?
well, that one makes sense. Assessing software support,
What page and line?
page 4, right in the middle, about a third of the way down.
The software support?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one that's just almost 100%. I'm going to assume that's probably a fixed annual
Right.
fee.
Mhm.
It's a contract, probably.
Yeah. He already got the police legal fees. And I thought there was. And
Looks like there's just a typo on page 10, the highway. It's 8,500% used.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, no, that
Oh,
could be.
that's a line that's, no, it's a dollar. It's-
That's because there was only $1 in the line,
Oh,
they
yeah,
spent.
$85.
Right, so that's
Okay.
why.
Right.
It's
All right.
correct. so.
Okay.
Luckily, it's $85 and not $8,500.
Right.
$35,000.
Yeah.
That's just 8,500% used.
Yeah.
So anything else for the town? Gentle reminder that we get this information about a week before the meeting, so feel free to review it before now. All right, hearing nothing, I'm going to move over to the school board. Peg, you gave us a wonderful sheet with red lettering on it, I'd imagine to outline some of
Okay.
the
Yep.
discrepancies.
All right, basically, I drive Fort Nathan crazy, and go through the expense report every month, and then get on the computer and say, okay, line. So I decided, because of time constraints this evening, I would take what he replied to me in red, print it out for everybody so that you can actually see the lines that are over, like way over. But in the very top, before specific lines, salaries were up for paras, secretaries, drivers. I think that was it. So therefore, their FICA, New Hampshire Retirement, Life and Disability Insurance, all were up. So those lines. The first one, high school public tuition. We have several kids who are taking advanced classes at Great Bay, which is an absolute positive thing, but it was not budgeted. Next line, support salaries at Bright Beginnings. A para was hired at a higher rate than we had budgeted, and then support raises. Elementary teacher disability insurance, the same thing, replacement teacher at a higher salary, therefore higher. FICA increases, several lines there. Bright Beginnings retirement again. Middle contracted services, IEP driven. Next lines, elementary, middle, and high school. There's 1 out-of-district placement in elementary, 2 in the middle, and 7 in the high school. Those are the things that we have no control over. They come in and we cannot meet their IEPs. We have to send them out. The next line down, there was a price increase in one of the out-of placements, and then IEP driven. Vocational education, more students were enrolled than originally anticipated, which again is a good thing. Okay, the next one, I like his answer, yes we did. Co-curricular retirement, what was happening was, if my retirement was for me being, a teacher, and then I decided I was going to do a co-curricular activity, I was not budgeted for that, so it was only $1 for the retirement and everything. So I did ask, hopefully we budgeted for this year. Yes, we did. High school guidance, dental, she actually reimburses us every month for her portion. School board expenses, that kind of blew my mind because I thought I haven't spent any money. We make a field trip donation for the 8th grade New York field trip, and then we bought flowers and some things for Lou's celebration of life. Middle school principal, secretary, person went from part-time to full-time to basically help us with some of the security issues at the high school. This next one is John Safina's disability insurance. Somehow they billed twice. Poor Nate has been trying to get it taken out. They did credit for this year, but not last year, so he's still waiting for a response. Copier rental, wrong expense was taken out. It will be corrected. Copier maintenance and agreements, overage and printing from both schools, especially elementary, because they are printing books. Custodian dental, again, she reimburses us. These next ones, if you want to read my questions here. What happens is sometimes a regular driver has to do a special education run, taking students somewhere out of placement. So the mileage is going to be more. It has to go under that line. So unanticipated, the expense is going to be a lot more. The next one's dental. We are going to have an increase because we did not budget for the transportation director's dental. We were planning on going with an in-house current driver, and they do reimburse us for their dental. Replacement equipment, the repeater that we needed at the beginning of the year. And contracted students. Yes, again, more special ed, contracted students, our services out, more students being transported. And IT repairs, I don't know if you remember, but we had that problem with Power School falling apart last year, and we decided we needed to host, not keep it ourselves, and we did not budget that. So, but if you look at the bottom, everything is encumbered for the year, and we have $121,381 left.
And you have, how much left? You have
You have 3 months left to go.
3 months.
And that doesn't include any extra transportation. That doesn't include a whole pile of stuff that can.
Yeah,
so- Have teachers come back yet with any education, any educational pieces that they've taken for reimbursements?
Nope, we have encumbered everything that absolutely we know
Or just
about.
been
Yep.
contracted, right?
And
Like payroll and so forth.
Yep, but just about anything else too. So special ed, obviously, hopefully nothing happens between now and.
And what did you have
June.
in warrant articles? I mean, total money out of the surplus?
Oh, for this that they just approved. Transportation.
No, it wouldn't be when they, would it be the one? Yeah.
Transportation, obviously special ed, technology.
How much of money though?
50, 25. You would ask, I don't remember. 50, 25. I want to say it was like 75, 85,000.
So where I'm going with this is, it's a good bet that the townspeople aren't gonna see no money back this year.
Possibly, but we thought the same thing last year, and we did end up giving back money. So it's always, right down to the wire.
But isn't the warrant articles written in such a way that you don't have to put the money into the warrant article?
No,
they go into
it's voted
the
a
trust
yes,
funds.
it has to go in there.
Yeah. So
So they've rewritten it so that I thought there was if there is money.
Right,
it
if-
can-
Surplus.
it can-
Right.
it's
Comes out of the surplus.
Right.
right, and if there is $10,000 surplus, it goes towards the first warrant article.
And food services, right now, you have no money left in food services.
I hate food
And you still have
services.
3 months left to go.
That's always a negative.
Yes, always.
My
Always.
Why, I don't know, but
Because it's food, again, it's just the way it goes. Eating healthy costs money. But again, so food services, you're pretty much, you have $800, and you still have 3 months left in that part, so the monthly expense on food services is gonna suck up a good chunk of that.
when's the last day of
122.
school?
22nd,
Of
maybe?
June.
Of June, yeah.
So you got just over 2 months left.
2 months?
Yeah. Yeah, food service, we just always know is going to be a,
Is that with all their snow days included?
With the
Ah.
days?
yeah, snow days,
went well.
What Earl found out, which I found very interesting, is any delay or early release day, if the kids went for 3.5 hours,
or something, yeah.
then the state will count that as a 5.5 hour day. And the students only need so many hours of education. So the students will be okay. Teachers per contract will still have to fulfill their 185 days, so they'll be going, but they won't be eating cafeteria food. I know I did ask Nate to send this out. He did send it out late, but it's the trust fund balances.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, so at least we have that. We still obviously have some revenue that is due. $3,856,853. Grants, just a quick update on grants. The SIG grant, the Biggie computers, 3D printers, and software to test all of the students at Newt. That's always been my big thing, is how do we know that they are moving forward and progressing? And the only testing was done for, I think it's juniors doing the SATs, which in my estimation, if I'm taking the SAT because I want to go to college, I'm going to do well. If I'm just taking the SAT because, you know, you told me to, So to me, it's not an indication of all of the students and what they're doing.
So, sorry, but are the students forced to take SATs?
No.
They're not forced, but it's encouraged to do it.
Who pays for the fee?
The school.
Wow, I wish I had that when I was going there.
I know. All of us did.
Pays for the SATs?
Yeah, the SATs.
Is that you mean like NEWAs, ASVABs?
Well, the NEWAs, that's the software that was in part of this SIG or SIG grant that we actually are purchasing NEWI for all of the 4 classes of.
Right, but there's like two different types of testing that
Right.
gets done that everyone has to take. Then you have the ASATs. It's not the SATs. It's what they like the
ACTs. Sorry.
ACT.
Okay.
It's,
West Coast
Yeah.
ACTs typically.
Yeah.
but I mean, I didn't think the school paid for the SATs. I thought the student paid for their own SATs.
Yeah. No, we pay.
Because we don't. You don't host the SATs here at school. They usually go off-site.
No, they do it here. And I'm watching Sherry over there.
SATs.
They're
Yeah.
held at the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We host them at the school, and the school pays for it.
End of that conversation right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the other testing, I understand. The SATs, I never. That's the first one on me.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that they
Because again, that was the biggest thing. We're getting kids, because that's how a lot of your funding is driven, is how the performance level is done.
right.
And now trying to get the students to take it seriously and actually do it. Whereas, okay, you know, numerous incentives, but how do you get them to do it? Whereas the SAT, it's I'm only going to take it if I'm going to go to college.
Well, they all take it, but it's still, in my estimation, it is not indicative of what the students have learned, the progress that they've made, because you're not comparing it to last year's testing. Whereas the software that they did buy, kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. So you'll be able to see that particular cohort as they move forward and the individual kids as they move forward. So you can actually see if a child is progressing, is not progressing. Being a teacher, I mean, it's very important to me to see that kids are making some sort of progress, and that had not been happening at the high school.
Right, but you can, again, because of the size of the school too, and the size of the classes, you can have one student decide, I don't want to do it today. and I can throw the percentages way off.
Right.
Just to, when did you say the last day of school was?
I'm going to say it's the 22nd of
And
June.
but the budget ends, the budget
June
ends
30th.
June 30th.
Right.
And this is a expense report at the end of April 31st, correct?
Right.
So if my math, April
Yeah.
to June, how many months is that?
2, April, May, June.
So, excuse me, I'm sorry, March.
Oh, this is March, okay, so
31st. I'm
3,
sorry,
yeah,
March.
yeah.
So
I
March
didn't- I
to,
didn't see the print date, but if it's March, then it'll be 3 months.
it's 3 months, okay, thank you. That's when I,
Oh, you want to prove me wrong?
yes,
For the record, Mark proved me wrong.
Wait, did we write that one down? Did you get that
My
one?
pain is no longer there.
Oh, good, I'm glad you, I will
I
sleep
knew I was
over that
right.
now.
I knew I was right.
Oh. We also, as far as the last I heard, one of the grants for the high school, the Department of Human Health, DHHS, but I think they've changed the name. We supposedly will be getting another 50,000 next year, but it's not cast in concrete.
For next year.
For next year, which is good news.
The continuance, you're saying?
Yes, but it'll be the final year.
And that's buying what right now?
What it's doing right now, it's supposed to be education for students as far as, staying away from drugs and keeping them involved in something else. And they have quite a few activities now going on at the high school.
But it's not paying for a teacher or anything of that nature?
It's paying for a part-time drug counselor who's in the school just part-time. So it's paying for...
So when that comes to an end next year, are we committed to keeping that part-time
No,
position
we're
open?
not. I mean, we'd love to, but no, we're not. So, yeah. Anything else that...
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
Hey, isn't this the DHS, wasn't that supposed to be $100,000 this year?
Yes.
It's not all here.
Oh, okay. You know what I found out about the grants that I did not know is all right, where did that grant report go? Okay. What happens is until we actually do I'll just call it a purchase order,
Yeah.
that grant will not show in the adopted budget, which to me does not make any sense at all. But I had to ask it on the SIG grant down at the bottom, and that was where I got my answer.
Are you on page 1?
Yeah, it's still on page 1 in the bottom.
Yep.
It's the third grouping down, and that's where, the computers and
Okay.
the printers and stuff. So I know we had some money left in the DHHS grant.
Yeah.
That's a tough word to say, or tough letters. And that was why we ended up offering classes, or not classes, but after school activities for kids.
Okay, that's,
So, yeah,
this should actually get bigger, this
yes,
number?
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna add to it.
Yeah, we will spend it. Believe me.
Okay.
Thanks, Peggy, for putting all this together.
You're welcome. What I'd like people to do, just, when you leave and you get a chance to look at this and see if that really answers your questions as you go through and see overages, because that's what I do is once a month we get these and I spend some time every single line that's over, and some of them are like 2,344,000,000% over, because
You know
I know
what?
Stan is looking at me like, huh?
Well, you know what would be easier if you could put the page numbers down, be quicker.
All right.
I can find it, but it's easier if you get the page numbers. It's so easy to look through. And this is helpful.
Okay. They certainly are sequential.
Yeah, they
So,
are.
but anyway, if this is helpful, what I'll make sure is I will send it when Nate sends the rest of the stuff to Sean, and
Awesome.
you include it. Anything else?
Stan's back.
Stan's packing up.
So I didn't hear any more questions for Peg for the school?
Just the one, just
Okay.
to beat the dead horse. That's why it goes to my point, like on the high public tuition, you only budgeted $1, but you're gonna spend 17,000.
Right, because we did not know that students were going to be taking classes. The opportunity
Yep.
came
No,
up,
I
and
fully understand that.
yep,
But 17,000, where am I taking that 17,000 from?
Somewhere else in the budget.
Case in point.
That's the
Some-
point, that
Yep.
I'm glad somebody agrees with me.
That's
as
what I
well.
keep, that's what I'm asking.
But they may not know yet.
They know. He's already taken the money. He's already taken the money. He's already moved it somewhere. He knows. He knows where he took the money. Because he knows that because you look at other lines, you can see that there's, where they have a surplus. Again, insurance. Again, fuel. You know, so that's my point when I'm asking, so where did the money get moved from? Because, all right, so now next year, you're gonna come to me, or come to this board and ask, we want 20,000 for high school public tuition.
Yep.
Okay, and so, well, you spent it, where did you get it from last year? And but you're also gonna ask for almost 20,000, or say 17,000 for something else.
That you didn't spend it
That
on.
you didn't spend it
this
on.
past year.
Well,
And
then
I
that's
don't know
where we look at it and say, well, you didn't spend it last year. We go quite heavily in that.
Yep.
You didn't, yeah, well, yeah, then we're sitting here at meetings at the end of the year saying, okay, and then they're flipping back, well, geez, why, where did I go? Oh, yeah, I put it in tuition. As he goes through the month, he's moving the money as he's expending it.
Can I ask you, Sarah, I mean, I guess I'm very confused as to you saying we move the money, or he moves the money.
Yeah.
He does not physically take money from line 65 and put it in line 14.
He does, everything goes into a pool, got that.
Okay,
But every line here, as the budget committee sits here, every line was justified. Every single line. We sit there for hours, and they look through, the budget committee goes through every line. You want middle support retirement, you need $186, or in this case, it's zeroed out. I just grabbed a line. So every line is justified.
mm-hmm,
The budget committee looks at it, and they look at it and say, okay, no, or again, where it comes to whatever item for say books, and library books, and $5,000 for library books. Well, budget committee decides they only want to spend $3,000 for library books, and that's what you put in there.
mm-hmm.
But you spent $5,000. So that $2,000 came someplace. He's looking at your business administrator is looking at it and saying, okay, I got to pay the extra $2,000. Where am I going to get the money from? You do that in your home anyways. You do that with your home budgeting.
Okay,
So he's looking at it, and so he went and said, okay, I know I have a surplus
okay.
in insurance. I know I have a surplus
Okay,
over.
so you're not asking physical movement from line 35 to line 46.
What I'm asking
Is just, okay, where are we? Do we have the money? This is costing us more than what our budget was on that particular item. I know as a business manager, we are under here. And believe me, we go through these every month and make sure.
I didn't say you didn't.
No, but I mean, I'm just trying to understand exactly what it is that you're questioning. We do
I get
have.
what he's saying.
all
Because
right.
a long time ago.
Bob and I would deal with this a long
It
time.
was a long time ago. You see this where the adjustments are, or the amendments? He would put it here to balance every line out.
So-
He would take money here and there. He would move it so every line is balanced.
And he's still doing it. He's still doing it now because
But he's not actually marking it though this time.
he's not marking it down here.
Yeah.
But he knows, he's looking at his spreadsheet on his computer,
Oh, I'm sure.
and he's sitting there going, okay, wow, I got to spend
Okay.
17,000.
Yeah.
Where am I going to get it from? So he has to go through this budget and grab that line and find out, okay, I know I have a surplus here. I've encumbered everything that I need to encumber, and I still have a surplus in fuel. So I'm going to take it from fuel and bring it over.
I understand
So-
exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, no, I think I understand, I mean, I just,
So-
in my mind, what I was hearing you saying is he's gonna physically move it. No, he does not physically move it and make any changes to the original budget. That was what was budgeted, that was what was approved. If we spend, we do have a spending freeze that has been in place for
Right, but
2 months now. So you can't, I mean, nobody can spend any more money. Everything has been encumbered that we know of.
but you're still under a contractual obligation, so again, if you get hit by 3 teachers suddenly submitting tuition payments, I mean, there's not a whole lot of money left. But that's your deal
Yeah,
right now, that's
yeah.
not the budget committee's deal.
Right.
But again, no, and you guys are gonna probably regret the fact that you voted me on, but again, I'm seeing 17,000 just in one line that's in the negative. I understand the reasoning, understand why you did it, not a problem with it. But he found the money someplace, and the money just didn't appear, so he had to take it from someplace. And that's my question, where did he take it from? Because now, if we go to fuel, and justifiably, fuel is down, I mean, you have a surplus in fuel with 3 months left, he's gonna use up that surplus, so now you're gonna find that the fuel it's not gonna reflect here, and we're not gonna know it, because the way we're doing it now, but he's probably taking it from the fuel to pay
We
that
are gonna know it
17,000.
because that line will show less than what was allocated.
Not, you'll show, at the bottom line it'll show, but it doesn't show where
No,
he's
no, the
taking.
line, the individual line will
Right.
show what was truly spent out of it. And so if it was $15,000 for fuel,
But there
and
was-
they spent 12,000, it's gonna show $12,000
Okay,
spent.
then again, you look at where'd the money go then, after that, so there's 15,000, where'd it go after that?
But I mean, the statement to say we don't know where, what happened to the money, that, again, back to the bottom line budget, but we know that, what this boils down to is, what you're saying is, you asked for money you really didn't need because you put it towards something else.
No, I'm not asking if you asked for money you didn't need. I just want to know where you spent the money. Because what's going to end up happening is when you come before us again and say, now I need this, well, wait a minute, did you actually spend it on that, or what did you spend it?
Well, that's what I'm saying, you asked for something you didn't need because you spent that money on something else. So, but that's why we say every line, it wasn't but 2 years ago, we changed it so that every line was a true attest. Where years ago, they used to do something similar to what you're talking about. Now it's true, if it goes over, it shows it went over, it's under, it stays under. You know, so we know what that line truly represents.
I certainly used it last year. They would say, I want for X, I want X amount of money. And you're like, okay, well, you're 2,000% the previous year. This other guy, you're saying you want the same amount of money, but you only spent 15% of the money. We know where the money got kind of moved around, but, you know, we're not going to give you $20,000 for something you only spent $3,000 on the previous year. So I get where you're coming from, but that's how I just kind of kept it, like you could tell, this was over, this was under. Don't ask me for the same amount of money that was under last year, because I know that you used it to fill in this other line item.
Yeah.
There's actually 3 of us that saw this before. Larry was one of them, myself and yourself. We saw what happened.
Oh, yeah.
And he gives you the map if you want it. Have fun going through it. It was something else.
It was there.
Yeah, and before I actually forget it, I'm pretty sure that there has been an official announcement that the split between Milton and Wakefield, the audit was completed.
On the SAU, you mean?
Yes, the SAU. And we are giving back 150,000 to the town. I'm 99 point.
And that's a one-time thing because that doesn't exist no more.
Right, right. Now the SAU
Is in the
64
budget.
is within,
But
Is
the actual busing,
the SU budget,
is within the
Is
regular
incorporated.
operating budget this past year.
oh, okay, so I should be able to find superintendent,
Right,
office of the
right,
superintendent. Is
right.
it in this monthly report?
Yep.
It is?
Yep. Yeah, it was separate when we had Wakefield. But
Right,
then-
it used to be a separate, the SAU budget was completely
Right.
separate, but now it's somewhere in here, I'll be able to flip through
Yep.
and see the office of the superintendent and secretary and sped director and whatnot.
And we no longer have a sped director.
So there's no more sped director.
There is a special ed coordinator. I guess maybe that might be her position, but she is actually teaching, and so she's not an administrator, really.
Oh, right.
I mean, she is, but she isn't. If that makes any sense. So she's not making the big bucks, let's put it that way.
Yes.
Cool. Next is public comments. We
Oh,
have one
we have
member.
Mr. Brown back.
Thank you. I was a double book. Earlier, I said how much I appreciated Mark coming back on the board. Right now, this is a excellent time for the budget committee. We have a town administrator who is now settled in. We have department heads of practiced competence, and the school board has been re-elected. The points that Mark brought up are still the important points, going back to the ghost figures for teacher health insurance. About 4 years ago, when Caitlin began to do the excellent thing that Sean has by showing what was spent and how the colors of your choice go up and down to show the outlier, it remains the most important work. What I wanted, and in the phrase of that 8.5 by 11, was one piece of paper from the town and one piece of paper from the school board, an end-of-month summary that said nothing about the sweet, blessed percentage of the budget spent, but everything about whether or not the police department was fully funded, whether or not the cruiser was being paid for by us or the guy who crashed into it, whether or not it would be salaried employees are stable, no workers' comp issues, DPW reports storm damage to side ditches controlled by the town on roads numbers X, Y, and Z. Police cruiser repaired at no cost to the town. Joanne has spent X number of hours at a cost of such and such a dollar on issues involving the new treasurer. That is an end-of-month report by the town. The school district has to deal with the fact that they are frozen deep, and we are waiting, as Peg intimated, for the cork to float back to the top of the bottle from having been pushed down when big buck salaries went south when we disaffiliated. That's going to happen in 2 years. But it is a pleasure to watch your work, and Lord, it's fun being civilian.
Thank you, Larry. So announcements. The one real quick one I have, I put it on the front section of everyone's packet, the budget and finance workshops. I highly recommend that everyone goes. I am going to go this year. I did not go last year, and I kind of regretted it, actually. So please keep that in mind. The dates are in the agenda, as well as that. That should be right there in the front. So please, next meeting, we'll bring it up again and try to get a head count so we can take care of everyone getting assigned to it and set up there. Any other announcements? Nope.
Motion to
Very good.
adjourn.
Wait 1 second. Next meeting, May 15th, 2018, 6 p.m. right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. And do I have a motion for adjourn?
Yeah.
A second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Oh, he's been sitting too long. He's all creaky.
You don't know how good where the SAU
have to the bathroom.
on this. 'Cause
I couldn't find him.
I couldn't find them.
I looked, I couldn't
Okay,
find
wait
it
a
at all.
minute. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Tomorrow. No, tomorrow. Sorry, my double glasses. Are we turned off? No. All right.